Sorry for the little movement right now. But welcome to tonight's stream. And let me zoom in. Okay, so sorry I'm a little late, and I'm probably gonna miss a couple of you guys because of that delay in time. But this man had to eat. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do something fun. We are going to be making Harley Quinn, and we're going to be making just a pinup of Harley Quinn. So, let's see. I'm going to need my trusty iPad as well, because I'm going to need references for this. So, in order to be able to get some good detail on your character designs, it's always recommended that you use reference. Reference will make sure that Harley Quinn, that you get the details right, that you get everything that you need to, get on your character in your character design. So right here, I'm honestly just going on Google, and I'm going to scroll down until I find one that has the detail that I want. And let's see. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys vote. So I want you guys to choose if we're gonna be doing old school Harley Quinn with like the jester outfit, or if we're gonna be doing the new school Harley Quinn. I'll let you guys decide on that. So, original Batman animated series reference. All right, so we have one vote for the original. What's it gonna be, guys? What's it gonna be? That's gonna change. Hey, everybody! Hi. Sorry to catch you guys off guard, and honestly, no, I guess we could make a combination of both. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so like always, I like to do a recap of what I drew throughout the week. So this week I drew some pandas, and I mapped out my next course for 21 Draw. I also just need to record it, so I need to get a good camera for that. But I drew some Powerpuff Girls. I drew a pinup based on the awesome Derelict, and did a little bit of studies for an apprentice, and I did my 1 hour challenge of my schedule for the day. I'll walk you guys through it. So this is essentially how I spend most of my days. In the morning, I wake up at around 6:30 to 7 o'clock in the morning. That's the average time that I get up. Then I proceed to work out a little bit. This light is a little bit too intense. Okay, there you go. Hold on. Nope. I apologize for this, but there you go. It seems a little bit better. Okay, so after I wake up, I work out for about an hour and a half, an hour before I have to go to work. I work from home, but I work as a book editor, so I get to chill, and then I get to start work very relatively early. I do like to, it's been a habit now to actually get dressed as if I was going to an office, because I was doing horrible. Like, I just got up in PJs and I would never change. And that was horrible. So I had to change a habit that I thought was negative. So I started getting ready for work. Then after work, I go and do my life things. So in this case, it's going drawing. Wow, this is really, really dark. Let me know if there's a lot of shine, guys, because it seems like I'm getting a little bit of a reflection. But okay. From 6 to 10, almost every day, I'm just going out, drawing, going to coffee shops, just playing pool, streaming for you guys, stuff like this. And then when I get home a little bit later, then I normally watch TV and work out again for about an hour or two. And then it's night night. So I go to sleep around midnight, and I repeat the cycle over and over and over again. This is a very repetitive like schedule, and it's something that I fall into all the time. All right, but the reason that tonight is going to be a big, tall video is because we have to use the real estate to be able to draw it. Okay, so we're going to make both Harley Quinns in one pose. So that's going to be interesting. In this case, I am going to use a pencil for all of you doubting that I ever use pencil. I do use pencil all the time. Let's see. Do we want to make like a standing up pose for Harley Quinn? Do I want to make it like super playful? Let's see. Okay, so staying with like old school pinups, I'm going to make Harley Quinn writing like a missile or something like that. So it's gonna be boop. I'm gonna map out first the big elements in the picture that I'm going to be doing and trying to get a sense of perspective for that one object. So in this case, it's just going to be a cylindrical shape, and whatever styling we decide to give it later, probably like some Joker smiling or something like that, but we'll leave that for later. But meanwhile, you can segment it into perspective, and it's going to give you a baseline to what you want to draw on top of this. So, sometimes you have to set like a whole like perspective line and then going in and mapping everything out from there. But you can just as easily start from an actual object and then figure out the perspective of the scene from that one object. Or just have it have a different perspective than everything else, and it's going to look like it's going in a different direction. All right, so this is from mostly memory right now from posing. So I know that if you are straddling something like this, it would be your legs would come out here. The other one would go to the other side, but it would curve up right there. Then the thighs would come up, and then I'm just trying to find the baseline as to where the body would connect to the object if I try to place it there. And this is mostly the reason that I recommend learning so much anatomy. It lets you play with different parts of the body without, seeing the thing as a whole yet. So in this case, I'm building up the bottom, so that I can have a baseline for the hips. And then I'm going to have a very arched body. Right? I want probably Harley to have like big hips, but she's not gonna have big breasts. Harley's not like the character that's like super exaggerated like that. So we're going to go into the subtlety of that. Slightly smaller breasts for a superhero woman is normally like, oh no, what are you doing? But we can make anything look sexy. And sexuality doesn't come from that. It comes from the posing, it comes from the styling. All right, so we have a general idea of the arched back that we want. And then let's see. Do we want the feet to be going forward? Or do we want to tuck them in? Okay, let's look at some comments while I think of this. All right, so let's go back from the beginning. Gabriel Moose. Hello. Hello, Gabriel. Another wannabe. Hey, hey, hey. Jack Ballin. Make original Batman animated series reference. We will. Zumarella. Hey, RODGON. Hey, Zumarella. Jack Ballin. Wait, hold up. Like, I think those are the ones they already read. Vanessa. New school. Make it a challenge. What up, RODGON Jasmine 1980 from IG dropping to say hi. Thanks for the artwork battles. Woohoo! Hey, Buddy, happy Tuesday. Draw her leaning on a hammer. I'll have her hammer there. Uh, LOL, make it fourth wall breaking and a comedic why. All right, sometimes I draw a few thumbnail versions before I go out and design. Yeah, you know what? Like, I know I like to build on my drawings. So all the lines that you see right now might not even be the ones that we end up with at the end. It's just a matter of figuring out the pose, and to me, it's kind of like sculpting. Like the more that I like overlap lines, the more that I can actually like feel the like the character. I can start seeing the volume that I'm drawing, and then I can start mapping out if something doesn't look right, something looks off. Maybe the leg is a little too thick right there. But I'm like drawing through the objects, figuring out where everything else is supposed to fit, and then I map it out. And I do the same thing for every single part that I think has to be really important to the character. And let's see, like that is one thing that is very important in character design is understanding that where and when not to put detail. And I think a lot of people end up in like this limbo where they think that everything that is drawn on the page has to be incredibly detailed. That everything that you draw has to be like insanely like crazy and like hyper detailed. And it's not really the case. You don't really have to do that. Um, Normally, like I like to see it. I use detail just like I use shading and I use lighting and I use blurs and like contrasts. It's a way to attract your eye towards a certain detail. So, whenever you are drawing and you add a lot of detail into a little section, you're going to end up creating a lot of focus in that section. So, use that to your advantage. Wherever you want everything to focus on the page, focus detail there and then everything else make it blurry. Imagine it's like a camera and then you're getting like, that ombre, like, or what is it called? It's not ombre. It's like the Gaussian blur effect. Like, you know, it's it's just a way to direct the eye, and it's another thing that you can play with. It's pretty fun. Okay, so we are running to the upper body. So let me talk you guys through what I'm thinking when I'm drawing these things, because I know that at least one of you will probably get something that clicks, and maybe more of you think a little bit more like me than I like to think. So I'm gonna walk you all through what I'm doing as best as I can. So when we got here, I try to find where the artifact would be hitting in contact with my character's hips. So it hits where the butt is and it hits where the thighs are. Since she's going to be pretty much putting pressure on it, the thigh and everything gets squished a little bit, therefore it widens them. So it's like if you grab like a little ball and then you squished it, it would just get thicker, right? So that's the same thing that happens with your body parts. So in this case, if I want it to be close, maybe I do that. If I want it to be like she's like straddling the bomb, which seems like a pretty nice pose too, then maybe I don't make it so thick and I make it a little bit thinner because it wouldn't be compressing against the side. So I leave both lines there because I'm not completely sure. Then we move up. I follow the thigh up onto where it connects with the hip. Right? So these lines help me map out everything else. So this gives me the front and the back. It gives me the thigh thickness. And then it gives me that dent with the hip bone. Now I'm gonna go into the rib cage, which is pretty like there's not a lot of space between the hip and the rib whenever they're compressing. So it creates this little like V section. Now, if we know a rib cage, I like to break it down like this. In this simple shape, that way it allows me to think of something going around. That way I can wrap it around with muscles. And it also provides me the perspective that I need to be able to know where everything else on the top is going to be. So in this case, we have the body, we have the rib cage. I trace the middle of the rib cage up. It's a cylindrical object as well, kinda, or like a box. It can be, it's more like a box, honestly. Uh, I mean, I guess you can see it either way, but I find the sections and I try to give it thickness. These are all things that I'm normally thinking in my head. I'm not normally necessarily always drawing these lines. After just doing it for a while, just end up, getting a hang of it. So we end up in the rib cage. So now we know where the front of the chest is, right? We know where our abs are supposed to be. It goes into where, your panty line would go and your, nether regions. So we draw that. We can draw like, I like to just map it out with like a thong or like whatever um, guidelines. Since it's going to be a pinup and most likely those lines will be used for something or other, uh, I don't mind putting thicker lines there just to map it out so I can see it a little bit better. Let's see. Hold on. I'm seeing a lot of glare here. Let me see if I can fix this real fast, guys. I want you all to be able to see this as good as possible. Meanwhile, if you guys want to think of cool props to put on there, give me 2 seconds to figure something out. Okay, let's see if that works. There you go. It's a little better. Okay, so let's see. Any more comments? This is amazing. Oh, thank you. Well, I aim to please. So I think the lighting will be a little bit better now, hopefully. If not, let me know. I might just turn that off. But let's see. What were we going? Okay, rib cage. So whenever I get to the rib cage, I like to trace the rib cage up and try to establish where the clavicle would be. The clavicle is that little tiny section here. Hold on. I think I can do this, right? It's gonna be a horrible angle, so do not judge me. Ah! But it's this little section right here, right? And this is going to give you the coordinates to connect to where your ears are because it connects directly to your neck muscles. So let's draw that. I didn't flip the camera. There you go. So that is what the clavicle is right there. So that's a huge part, and you'll see why right now. So I like to map out where that is. That both connects to where the ears are going to go in my head. So once I start drawing the head and I start drawing the neck and everything like that, it's going to help me map it out and be able to connect it to the actual body. But it also provides you a couple other landmarks. It provides you the direction in which your shoulders are going to go. The clavicle and then your collarbone connect to roughly where the middle of your shoulder would land. Right? The middle of the shoulder tends to end up where the collarbone ends. So you know that that's about the middle of your body, and if you angle it up, you're going to have a higher shoulder position. If you have it lower, you're going to have a lower position for your shoulder. So that's a very important part. And in this case, we're going to have her like, like riding like a cowgirl or something. So we're going to need a high pose. So we're going to angle this a little bit high. We're going to draw the shoulder. And then we're going to slowly figure out like the hand position for what she would be doing. Let's see. Let's see. And, like always, with especially when you have pencil, you're able to erase. So as long as you're not drawing really, 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 really like hard, everything should be fine. And also, let me make sure I plug in my phone because last time our stream got cut short because I forgot to plug in my phone. And it was a little bit of a pain. But okay, let's see. Let's continue. So we're gonna go up here. So we know it's gonna be around this area. So maybe we'll have her like extending her arm. That sounds more like Harley. Yeah. Like almost like celebrating, like, yay. So we're gonna have that be like the general flow of her arm, the first time. Then I want her to be grabbing onto the missile, but do we want her grabbing from the front or the back? And in this case, I think we're going to do the back. So in this case, I want to figure out where the shoulder is. So this clavicle goes around the rib cage to where the shoulder would go. And then I can try to figure out the general flow of things. And the hand has to be on the object. So I just draw a general shape where the object should be. And then let's see if that looks good or not. I'm not sold on that. Doesn't quite look good. So I think I'm going to go with the front. I'm going to have her hand right there. She's going to be writing this. Maybe I'll give this like horns or something like that. Yeah, that sounds better. We'll theme it, and she'll be grabbing onto like some handlebars or something like that here. So now we have the position roughly of both arms. Now we got to figure out how we're going to make her face. How do we want her looking? Do we want her looking like so? In order to figure out the position of the head the easiest, you can figure out where the back of your spine is, trace that line up because the back of your rib cage tells you where the spine is, and that's where your neck is, right? So now at this point, you can draw any sort of shape you want. Maybe you want her looking this way. But that doesn't really make sense because, she's like throwing her whole arm there, right? So maybe we want her like throwing a slightly higher pose, like throwing her head back a little bit, That still seems a little bit static to me. So in order to get past that staticness, I'm going to change the angle to something that I'm seeing here. So if I see this flowing this way, I'm going to try to make this flow this way. So let's see if that looks okay. Give a little bit of the underneck. And that's starting to give us the result that we want, but not quite. Maybe bringing it down a little bit more. I think we're getting there. I think. Yeah, there you go. Starting to get the look that we might want. And I'm gonna go for a difficult angle, and I fully expect to mess up and make it look weird because I am not very familiar with this angle. But you know what? Like, How else are we going to learn, right? So, with whatever knowledge and peer pressure that I have to be able to do this right for you, I am going to do my best. So, I figure that the rib cage is a little bit too low in order to be able to go with the flow of this head. Now, if the head, and this is why this is such a difficult angle, because this area right here is composed of so many different little parts, and I'm gonna break it down for you. Break it down into the level that I understand it. So maybe it like helps some of you. Like I'm gonna blur this out a little bit. Okay, zoom in. Okay, all right, that's the neck. All right, so we're going to have a little bit of a breakdown as to how you draw these type of positions and how to most accurately be able to like depict them without going crazy. Because I know for a fact that if you try to draw a comic, you have run into that pose. And then instead of doing this, we end up with like a profile pose because we don't like the way that that looks. So let's see if we can figure it out together, okay? So I've been putting a lot of studying into this, but I want to see if it actually makes sense. So you remember the clavicle, middle of the chest, right there, right? So this, we have our head. And whenever you're looking up on a head, you have to realize that your face is made up of a very complex set of shapes. Right? So when you come down to drawing the bottom of it, of like your neck, it's not just a flat line. It's more like a tube connected to two other little ligaments, and those connect behind your skull. Behind it. Right? So you have this area underneath that is just like kind of flat, kind of not flat, and it's sometimes like if it's really really like a low body fat person, like you get like a chiseled like look here. Otherwise, you get like nothing, and you just get flabby parts and like soft parts. So it's really hard to like standardize the way that you draw it. But when it comes down to this Harley Quinn right here, I wanted to have like a petite face. I know that Harley Quinn tends to have like more like high cheekbones, so I have to keep that in mind when I'm drawing this. So when I'm drawing these poses, I like to start the shapes like this, and then I just identify this like V, like reverse V or like trapezoid or whatever shape you want, which consists of where the bottom of the jaw is on this side, comes up to where the chin is supposed to be, and then it goes back around to where the ear was supposed to be. Right? That's the bottom jaw. If you see like an actual skeleton, you'd see that the bottom jaw tends to have that shape. So whenever you're drawing into perspective, you need to keep that in mind because it has like an L shape, like a bracket. Oh, it's like a bracket type of shape. I forgot you guys were zoomed in. So if we think about it like that, it's easier to map out that section. And then if you consider that from this point to that clavicle from both sides is these little tubes on the side, then you already have your neck pretty much mapped out the moment that you draw that shape. And then this part in the middle is just a cylinder. Well, a little bit more complex than just a cylinder, but it's like the simplest way to break it down. And then you have your neck. Now, from this point on, I don't want my Harley Quinn to have like a super, super buff neck. So I'm going to take the rules that I understand and the rules that I learned, and then I'm going to break them. So I'm going to push the neck in, and distort the muscles as I need to be able to create that more petite look that I wanted. Okay, so understanding the rules allows me to more easily be able to break them. So that's why you learn and study anatomy, so you don't get stuck with these positions, or you get stuck in a position where maybe you don't understand something, or it just doesn't make sense and it ends up looking weird. And even the best comic book artists, even the best illustrators in the world, like make mistakes all the time. So I'm not saying that by any means I'm like better than anybody or anything like that. It's just practice and consistency will get you the results that you want. And I highly encourage you to try that. Okay, so let's stay right here since we're gonna try to figure out this face. So the next step that I would think is to figure out where the mapping of the rest of the elements are going to be in the face. So the chin is the most complex part because, of the same situation. It's neither the top or the bottom of this stuff, but you need to be able to create that depth with it. So in my struggles to be able to understand this section of the body more, I've learned to see items and shapes a little bit more complex than what normal people explain. And the more that you practice with your anatomy and your perspective, you're able to understand how these lines blend and bend a little bit more. That's why fundamentals are great. Okay, so now we're going to go into the face. I divide the face in two. I'm going to try to clean up a little bit of the lines so I can start getting an idea of what the final face is going to look like. I try to figure out where the mouth is going to go. Just really, really short. I'm looking at it from the bottom, so I would probably see a lot more of the top lip than I would see from the bottom lip. It would probably be higher too. So the eyes would be a little bit higher because you are looking from the bottom. I make a mask where the eyes are supposed to go. Then from there, that provides me that little bit of depth from the eye ridge. This connects to where your nose is supposed to be. I would see the underside of the nose a lot more than anything else. So I'm just going to map it out like a little diamond. Then I would have the mouth. And she would be smiling. And if you ever don't know how to bend the mouth or anything, remember, these are all just shapes that you can subdivide and subdivide and subdivide to get the right perspective and stuff. All right, so you would see a little bit more of the lower lip. And then if we wanted her to be smiling really big, which we probably do, again, we're seeing her from the bottom, so you would probably see a little bit of the underside of her teeth there. You'd see a little bit of the top of her mouth, and you'd probably see a little bit of that. Now, continue down. Since she opens her mouth more, then we need to move the chin a little bit down more. And since she's opening her mouth a little bit more, that angle from underneath her gets reduced as well. Because your jaw doesn't just move down, it moves down and it rotates back. So before we were seeing a little bit of this angle right here, so we would see a little bit of you would see a little bit of the underneath. But the moment that she opens her mouth more, you're still seeing it from that same point of view. You end up not seeing that anymore. See what I mean? Like you just end up not seeing that because it rotated to the side. So that kind of simplifies things. Now I just need to make sure that the chin is not too big. As to not make her look like a superhero dude. It's very easy to miss that, especially with pinups, and it's a pain to get right. It took a long time for me to like learn how to like properly like proportion everything. All right, so you wouldn't see a lot of the forehead because she is looking up. And then from here, we just start cleaning up a little bit of the lines. And since we decided to render the face a little bit first, now I start working back from that point. And then anything that just doesn't look right, I just adjust. And even if it comes down to the rest of the pose, let's go back. I just end up editing because I actually really like the way that the face came out. You know, like the perspective of it. So I'll go back in and do the details, but I like the way that the perspective of the face came out, so I'm going to stick to that part as my main focus. So the face maybe is a little bit too small for the rest of the body. So what I'm gonna do, and this happens quite a bit when I'm drawing, I'm just going to scale her down. So in this case, we need her to be more like right here. Bye, Harley. You served the purpose of teaching me what I needed to draw. I know. Starting from, like, it's not starting from scratch though. And you'll see why. At this point, it's not about discovery anymore. It's about maximizing the look that I already achieved once. So I'm mapping the hips. I'm going to exaggerate the look even more. Give her nice wide hips. And again, I start sculpting the drawing, keeping in mind all those little, elements that I thought of before. So we have the abs, the middle of the body to where panty line would be. We draw our underwear so we know exactly how it wraps around the body. Now that gives us exactly where the legs are supposed to come out. And since we made her smaller, now I can actually play with the idea of having very, very, like, distorted and like perspective. So now we can have like her boot or something like that. And then we just direct that there. Right, so now her other leg can be like going this way and into perspective. There, a little bit more. There you go. Kind of like that. We adjust the item that she's writing to match the perspective a little bit better. Right? And then we, again, start mapping out everything else. Now, for all of you saying like, oh, well, like it's a waste of time to start over again. Well, I mean, is it though? Like, is it? Like, I don't think so. I don't think starting over when you're not really necessarily happy with a piece of art, I don't think that's ever a waste of time. So, whenever you're not happy with something, start over. Like, especially when you're drawing with pencil or with an iPad or like, digital. Like, you ain't happy with it. Like, this is time, your time and effort, man. Like, you know, don't necessarily like the way that leg looked going forward. Going back to the other pose that I did. There you go. I like that. Now we're wrapping around her. So we gotta adjust that one again. Drew it too high. So there you go. Now that's more believable. There's something like that. Okay, so we're gonna eliminate this. Alright, so we have Harley. She's gonna be riding this. Maybe we give her some stepping stools or something like that, something to be standing on. We give the bomb a saddle. Yeah, saddle looks fun. Okay. Remember, she was going to be riding it, so she needs something to hang on to. Draw like a little here on the floor right there. Let's start a little bit lower so it's not right in the middle of the seam. There. So I'll grab onto that. Okay, we'll give that some depth. And then we'll draw the rest of the missile. And of course, it has to have the Joker smile. So it's like the Mario ones, but Jokerized. There you go. Oh, that's pretty cool. Right. So you can maybe even move this stuff. But okay, for now, we'll leave that, and then we'll give it like the Joker haircut. There you go. Right. So back to Harley. So now we have her riding her rocket. All right, it's gonna be crashing into something. All right, let's zoom back in. All right, let's continue on with the details of her. So let's erase the neck thingy here. We don't need that anymore. Let's see. So what elements of which do we want to keep? So one of them has like the really cool bat and the jacket and the hair, but then the other one has a really cool mask. Oh man. Okay, so I think I know what I'm gonna do. So I really, man, it's a tough one. Okay, let me look at some comments and think a little bit. Okay, looks great. Okay. You could put the 4 diamonds. You're telling us how to draw. Well, I'm trying to explain my way of doing it. Pablo Fernandez, ¿le puedes poner el chipote chillón? That's the hammer thingy. Uh, Joe Gillen, I love drawing with my graph gear pencil, but I have gone to drawing with straight bic. Me too. Yeah, arms out look good. Have her look at us, but her head tilted back. Kinda. What? It's been a while. I have missed this. Is this from your reference? This is all from my imagination. I'm not looking at a reference for the posing. I'm just I'm just drawing from my memory. And it probably would come out a lot better with reference, but tonight I just feel like having some fun. Okay, so maybe we have like her arm, or she's like holding a bomb or something, and the bomb can have like graffiti or whatever. It was really funny that people chose Jinx and Harley Quinn as for the people to draw. Both of them pretty crazy ladies in their own right. So I'm gonna map out where the breasts are gonna go. The breasts are the pectoral muscles with a little bit of fat in them. So they fall under the same area where the pecs would go if you were a dude. And then just give them a little bit of depth when it comes down to the breast sides. Okay, so now we have our character. We have our rib cage proportioned. We have her sitting. Okay, so we have the most part. We have all the elements we need. Now we just got to come up with fun things for her to be doing. Now, do I want her doing something here with this arm? Yeah, that sounds good. That way it opens up this area right here, and it doesn't conflict with, I'm saying what? It doesn't, I'm gonna bring the arm in, so it doesn't conflict with the stuff that we drew like for the bomb. So in this case, I'm gonna start sculpting out where the shoulder's supposed to be. I know the shoulder is like a little pocket. If you think about it like armor, it's like a little pocket right there, and then the rest of the arm starts coming out from there. In this case, I'm bringing it in, so I'm gonna make it come in. She would be bringing in her arm more, and then it would start compressing against her breasts. So see how just having those elements there and then building out this piece from there like helps me understand what's going to be affected when I draw something new. So when it starts getting too messy, feel free to just erase. And you already have an idea of what you wanted to draw, so you can draw it a little bit later. So the arm, the first part's like that, right? And then the rest of the arm connects kind of like Legos would. Like not Legos, but like a mannequin. If this was like a Barbie doll or something, this would be where it would pivot. And if you see it like that, it's easy to just segment out your arm and come up with fun poses too. Okay, so that's that arm. Now this arm, I start doing the same thing. See that I drew it a little bit too long. So, shoulder. I draw that same kind of like Ken doll piece or Barbie doll piece connected to the other one through a pivot. and it just gives me the right lines that I need. Ah, you didn't see that one. Okay, so for this arm, right? I'm sorry, I thought I was not zoomed in. There you go. No. There you go. That's going to be better. So for this arm, I have to figure out where the shoulder is first, right? So we already mapped it out. It should be around here. So from here, I start building the same proportions as I did in the other arm. So shorter bicep into that same like doll-like, junction. If you start seeing your arms like that, you're gonna make your life a lot easier on yourself. So we have that, and then that extends a little bit into where the palm, or the wrist would be. And I like to make my wrists kind of exaggerated sometimes. And then if I'm looking and I'm thinking, how am I grabbing this, right? And I normally type to think, is my thumb in the inside or the outside? So I look at something, I'm holding it up, wrist, thumb is on the outside for me. So I look at the outside shape, if my arm was like that, and that's where the thumb is going to go. Now, the other fingers are still grasping at this thing. So you have to draw them grabbing the object, like around this round shape. We'll adjust the drawings inside of the bomb. So now we have Harley holding up the bomb. And she has to be grabbing onto something here. So I might move the saddle. Let's move the saddle because it seems a little low for a saddle anyways. So we're going to move the saddle to up here. That way it gives her something to grab right there. All right, so we have arm, wrist, into hand, into grabbing something. So my arm is roughly gonna be like that. I'll adjust it a little bit later when I finalize exactly what she's grabbing and stuff. Okay. All right, so we have Harley riding a bomb, and now it's time to actually figure out what we want to do with her face. So I think I'm gonna go with the whole soldier aspect. Straight up pinup from an airplane type of thing. And we're gonna give her a military helmet. That's gonna be kind of falling off. What do we want to give her that? She has such a cool hair. Okay, we're gonna give her the bangs but the bangs have to be being affected by the wind, right? Because she's riding down with a bomb. So her bangs would probably be flapping in the air up like that. Now, we figure out the back of the skull. Connected to the neck. We figure out where the ear is going to go roughly. And then we figure out where the hairline is supposed to be. So it's right there. But everything is really high. So if we want to give her pigtails, let me zoom out a little bit. There you go. If I want to give her pigtails, I got to consider that they're coming out of the poofy of her hair, but it would still be behind everything else. So I can draw something like that, and then the other one would still be going back, but it's going in a slightly different direction. So you got to give it a different perspective. Okay. All right. So now we have her hair. Wow, can you guys see that? Or is that... Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna just draw like this. I think you can't see it if I do it the other way. So now I have one pigtail coming back here, one pigtail coming back here, right? And they're going in perspective. I can follow up the shape. So I am pretty sure that it's supposed to be there, right? Okay. Might make the chin a tiny bit smaller. And this is where I'm going to start using a more precise eraser. Okay, and then I just start working my way in, especially with the face. The face is probably the most important part of any drawing. Like, if you get the face right, everything else can have flaws. Like, if you can get a really cool drawing of a face, everything else can be a little bit less awesome. And it helps your illustrations quite a bit. All right, so I'll just clean up a little bit of the perspective there. And then I'm going to go into the nose. She doesn't particularly have a very big nose. And most of the time, whenever you're drawing pinups, the nose is the one aspect that is diminished considerably. As you can see, I am reducing the detail or the amount of like lines very gradually, so I don't lose that same like perspective lines that I had. And then, because those already gave me every detail that I need, even if I'm not going to add a lot of detail to the nose, it provided me all the information that I needed. That little diamond, still there. Okay, now she has tattoos. She has a little heart, I think. Actually, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, she has a little heart in the new ones. So we're gonna draw her cheekbones. Maybe they wouldn't come out as much like that. Okay. And we're slowly gonna do the same thing with the like eyes and stuff. We're gonna start reducing the lines very slowly so we don't lose all our perspective lines that we got before. I'm gonna trace very lightly where the nose bridge would be. That way I can map out where the eyes are gonna be. And then now we have an option. Do we make her look all crazy, or do we make her look like she's just like having the time of her life? Let's see. Let's see what it looks like with both. Haha. I kind of like that. Kind of like that. Sometimes just get it on the first try. And then her eyebrows would be really high up. Because she's going like, yay, right? She has makeup, so we're gonna just add a little bit of shading there. And then we have our working Harley face. Little by little, we just start eliminating detail. Like, it seems like I need to make the forehead a tiny bit bigger just to accommodate for the eyebrows that we moved up. And then, let's see, her ears are showing. Yeah, I guess. All right, so we move that up, move that up. We still have the ponytail back there, and we have this ponytail back here. Okay. All right, now we can go into clothing. So she could be wearing like, let's see. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna give her a jacket because I just like drawing jackets because they wrap around the neck. And it provides like a lot of really cool lines right here. So she's gonna wear a jacket. It's gonna be like blowing in the air. So it's gonna be wrapped around. I'm making these lines curving up. Right. And then it'll be like wrapping around her breasts. So it'll be curved like that. Now the jacket would, let's make it a short sleeve jacket. Let's make it so it ends right there. And it's just poofy a little bit here. The patch. Okay. And then the jacket's gonna come back and it's gonna wrap around her, right? So we can literally just wrap around the line. And then that provides us with a lot of detail. So now we know where the front of the jacket is. We know where the back of the jacket is. And then it just wraps around. Alright, so one side has to be black, one side has to be red. And we have the poofiness of the jacket, which show up a little bit here. So therefore we can make this side the red one. Right, so then we proceed. What type of rest of the body do we want to give her? Okay, so first, since we said we were going to combine them, I'm going to have to give her the old school Harley Quinn mask. Okay. We did say we were going to combine them, so it's going to be a combination of both. And with that one, you don't really see the eyebrows. So the eyebrows, the top of the mask is kind of like what the eyebrows turn into. There you go. Okie dokes. So we have that. We have the jacket, one side black, one side not. Some buttons. Let's see. Now the rest of the suit. Do we want to give her the... I don't want to give her that one. Let's see. There's like the new animated cartoon that has it's just like a tank top. So we'll give her that. So it's gonna be like a little tank top that has like red, white, and blue. You remember, shirts wrap around the objects with shape. So in this case, her breasts are the things that have shape. So you wrap it around the objects. In this case, maybe give her a little bit of cleavage. You know, it is a pinup, and I like drawing cleavage with my women. So, there you go. Okay. We have that, and then it's the tank top wraps around the body. So we can literally draw the wrap around first, and then you can do this. Very easy. Okay, then it's divided in two. Into a line. And two stars where the boobs are. And then one side's black, one side's not. So that one's black. So let's make this side black. So how's your guys' nights going? Mine's going great. I just had some Chinese food before this. I've been playing pool a lot, so I've been doing that on Mondays. Sorry for moving the stream to Tuesdays, but Rod needs to get a life too. So outside of art, pool has been a pretty cool activity that I've been doing lately. Okay, let's see. So now we have that, and now what type of bottoms do we gotta give her? If we give her a little skirt, if we can give it like, you know, like flow, so it like looks like it's going back. But honestly, I think I'm just gonna give her like some high-rise shorts, because that's what pinups like wore a lot apparently. So in this case, I know the rib cage is here. I want to give her a nice flat stomach, so the abs are relatively straight down into the hip bone from that side. Okay. Draw a little bit of the under cage of the rib cage and a little bit of a belly line. Now you're gonna go into the hips, connect there. You're gonna go down to the legs, and we decided we're just gonna give her shorts, so we're gonna make a little bit of a compression line, so it looks like the shorts are compressing your skin, and therefore it creates a little bit more depth. Okay. All right, so let's read some comments. Let's see if you guys commented this time around. Meanwhile, I'm going to rest my hand for a second, because drawing with pencil actually puts a lot of strain on your hand. At least for me. Like, I'm just like, ah. All right, so how was Designer Con? Designer Con was amazing. Designer Con was like, it's a whole convention full of people that do what I do. They come up with original stuff and then they make it a reality. And that is something that I've been wanting to be a part of for so long. Like, I want to make toys. I want to make like vinyl figurines. I want to just make everything with absolutely everything that I have. Like all the characters that I create. Oh man. There's so much that I want to do. And Designer Con just made me realize that so much more. And it's awesome. So I'm going to start gearing a lot of my things towards, you know, making it happen. And this coming year, I plan on being at Designer Con. If I don't care if I have to assume a different like identity or whatever. I don't know why I would need to, but like I will apply as like 6, 7 people just so I can actually get in. The only other time that I've actually like gone and attended a con as an exhibitor was Lightbox, and Lightbox was amazing, amazing for me. Like I got to be honestly, I got to feel like I was part of the big boys group, and it felt really cool. Like seeing Chris Sanders and like exchanging sketchbooks with him, and man, like I got like see like Vixie Arts, and she saw my artwork, and like she gave me kudos when I'm like, ah, but like all her animal drawings, and it was just like it was fantastic. So if I can replicate that at any other convention, I'm gonna try. There you go. Let me angle that. So in this case, I know the hand is going up over this little like whatever, right? Like this little saddle part. So I draw the hand going in, and then I'm only drawing the fingers going around it. But as long as I draw the overlapping shapes, it ends up looking relatively good. Okay, so we have that arm. Gonna go into this other arm. And remember how I told you to break this down like this? So the best part of this is that you already have all the perfect overlapping lines having drawn it like that. All you gotta do is erase it. And then you have your arm perfectly mapped out. You just gotta get used to which overlapping lines are. But if you draw it like, like I said, it's always gonna be right. So we have this hand. We're gonna give her like another glove. And the reason I didn't give her like the princess hand is because Harley Quinn is kind of nuts. So I don't know if she would ever be considered something like that. So I also bend the end of the fingers a little bit so that it creates an illusion of weight. Oh no, oh, there you go. We almost ran out of pencil lead, but we didn't. So it's a good day. It's a good day. So I'm gonna draw the hair coming up. The hair is gonna be going back like that. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so we have our hands. We need to finish our bomb. And then let's just do some shading and call it a night. Oh, wow. We have been on stream for an hour and 12 minutes. Woo! Oh, I am sorry for keeping you guys hostage for so long. But honestly, thank you so much for the support. And I don't do this ever. I really don't. And you guys know I don't. But if you guys have been enjoying these videos, anytime that you guys watch a video, shoot me a recommendation as to what you would want, to get fixed. Or I love understanding what people like that I provide for them. So if you all take a second and just write down a comment on something that you would like to see, or even just an encouraging comment. Honestly, like sometimes we need that as content creators. Man, sometimes just someone just saying something nice makes the world a difference. So I encourage that, not just with me, but with the other content creators that you guys watch. Leave a nice comment. I promise you it's never gonna come back and be a negative thing towards you. And you will make someone's day a lot brighter. Okay, so we have this. Start defining the mouth a little bit more. Oh no! Okay, so mechanical pencils, right? They have erasers that are very, very, very nice and very precise. But I always run out of the space for them. It seems so much more practical to do everything in pen. I don't know why. It just always seems more easy. Okay, so the hair, we want it to go flowing towards the pigtails. Oh, we're gonna eliminate these lines, and then we're gonna replace those with lines of hair going towards the pigtail. And a couple loose hairs. a little bit. That is another reason I don't necessarily like pencil drawings. They just get really messy. Okay, let's zoom out again. Angle, pow. Okay, so this would be a Joker face, right? Like a happy face or something. Then the jacket would create some wrinkles right here. So it would create some wrinkles, and it would actually compress the jacket a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. All right, so we have that. We have the saddle right here, so we need to adjust the saddle to be more of that proper size. All right, let's give it some depth, a little bit of texture. Let's see where the back end of this rocket would be. And maybe give it some action lines. Because, you know, they are supposed to be going like super fast. So. Okay, so let's zoom out again. All right, so now only thing left really is to add a little bit of shading and environmental feel to it. Blend a little bit of the shading so it looks a little bit cleaner. And maybe do a little bit of the foot. So let's do the legs a little bit more. So you don't really see this side of the leg, but you still see a little bit. Boom. You would see about that. Angled. Okay, there you go. And on this side, I wanted it to come out from underneath, which means that like her boot or whatever would be right here. You would start seeing a little bit of that. And if she was pressing against it, it would like actually compress a little bit, but you wouldn't see most of that. You would just see like little elements like that. There you go. All right, so we have that. Now, I'm just gonna use my finger and like smudge the pencil on the bomb just to fill in all that area. Just so it doesn't look too sketchy. Like anything that's supposed to be dark, I'm just gonna run over it with my finger. And I'm just gonna go in quickly with an eraser and erase my highlights out. And that's gonna give us a pretty interesting illustration. Actually, the face of the bomb should be white, huh? Because it's a Joker smile. Yeah. It's a Joker face. So this part's supposed to be white. There you go. Let's give it a little bit of texture. There you go. Break up the lines a little bit. Right, there you go. That'll do. Now we go in and we erase. Let me see if I have an actual eraser though. I have not drawn with pencil in a very long time, so I don't really think I have many erasers. Oh, there's a couple here. Alright, so we have these beautiful little black erasers. The sumo, sumo grip erasers. These are actually pretty good. So I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna add little highlights as I go about, and we're gonna leave it at this stage. Just a little bit of cleanup. And as you go, just be careful not to smudge any more than you need to. And remember, if you mess up, it doesn't matter. Just go in and fix it. Okay, I'm taking a little tiny eraser from a mechanical pencil just so I can reach into those little tiny places that are supposed to have white highlights. So in this case, we decided this side was going to be the light side. Let's erase a little bit right there. Okay. Little by little, we just built up the illustration into something that we were gonna really enjoy. Well, we had to start over, so, didn't set us back at all. Just created a stronger illustration. If we would have continued with that initial design, maybe it would just look a little bit off right now, and then like you'd be like, ugh. All right, so let's get a little bit more in there. Okay, we got that. Let's give some real details. Okay. All right. Everything's looking pretty good. Give some detail to the boots. All right, so now the last thing to do is to just add sharp contrast in the areas that you feel that require it in order to make other parts pop out. For example, she's supposed to be like raising herself from this thing, so adding a little bit of a shadow there is going to provide that. Adding a little bit of shadows in the areas where there's too much of the same color helps bring those parts out. And that's going to apply to pretty much every single piece of art you make. So, keep the tips in mind. And then the last thing that we can do is add some like fun environmental stuff. Or like, I'm a big fan of just making like the old school cereal callouts. Like just like boxes or like circles that like call something out. Like in cereal, it would be like, inside, you have a blah, 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 blah toy. Like collect this and then send it into like serial codes and then receive a toy or something. In this case, it's gonna be, let's see, it'll be a little Harley doll. Okay, you guys can't see that. Okay. That'll be little Harley doll. And then her little hair would be like, wee. There you go. A little bit chibi Harley. Chibi Harley inside. I love doing things like that. I would probably go in and like do a better one digitally, but it's all good. Now, I also want to add a little bit of an environmental like feel. Like I want to have this feel like it's like a city or something behind it, you know? Like you're about to crash into Gotham. And there you go. Okay, let me take this off from the thing so you guys can actually like see this how it's supposed to be. All right, so let's take this off. So we have our Harley, and she is riding a bomb. Boom. And there you have it, guys and girls and everyone. We have Harley Quinn riding a missile. Hold on. See if I can make this work. Da 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 da. So, in case you guys are wondering why I'm doing so many pinups, I have a book of pinups that I'm going to be releasing, hopefully before the end of the year. I just got a scanner, so I can scan everything now. And I can scan all the books that you all asked for, all the sketchbook tours and stuff. I can make those into reference books for you all, or at least digital ones for you guys to download and like have whenever you guys want. So I'm gonna start working on that, and I'm going to be also finishing up my sketchbook that's going to print very soon. So I'm still taking pre-orders for all of you that are interested. So just DM me on Instagram. I have international and national prices now, so just make sure to contact me if you want one. And other than that, peeps, thank you so much. You guys kept me company for about an hour and a half. Thank you so much. It was awesome coming up with this with you guys. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it. And honestly, you guys are amazing. All of you that tune in, all the 20, 30, 40 people that tune in every week. Thank you all so much. You guys make my week worth it. And you are awesome. There is no words of gratitude big enough to be able to say what I feel. So until I have the words to do that, just enjoy the things that I do and take that as my love for all of you out there for supporting me. And you all have a wonderful day, and I love you all, and have a good night.